step?
Yep.
Okay, we'll call the meeting to order with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, and we're going to start with a public hearing to discuss the articles that will appear on the special town meeting warrant, scheduled for next Monday, January 30th, here at 7 o'clock in this library. Article 2 on the public, Article 2 on that warrant is going to read, shall the town adopt an ordinance entitled Moratorium Ordinance Regarding Recreational Marijuana Retail Establishments and Social Clubs. Copy of the amendments is attached to the original special town meeting warrant, Appendix A, copies of which are available at the office of the town clerk.
Yes, Madam Chair, if I just may, I just make a quick explanation about it. Again, the purpose of this is to provide some authority to the Board of Selectmen to impose a 180-day moratorium in the event that it's needed, so the planning board can take its time to review their land use ordinance and incorporate within that issues that relate to these establishments and social clubs, so we can order to have some a little further local control in relationship to it. I do know at this point that the state is some 9 months out. The Department of Agriculture is 9 months out in putting together the state regulations and rules to abide by, so I think there's still some time there, but this will provide the selectmen that authority. And then if they do impose it, it'll be for 180 days. If they need further time after that, the selectmen do have the option to come back and do another 180 days if it's so required.
Any comments? Chip?
I've got some questions, and maybe it's for the board to think about. I think the three parts to, if I'm understanding correctly, to what was approved by the voters. One is agriculture, another is retail, and the third one is the smokehouse or smoke room or whatever it is. And I guess my first question is this an all, I know at least one community has just said no to everything. We're putting a moratorium on it, period. We don't need it here. Is this an all or none situation? In other words, does the town have to say no to all three of those functions, or maybe yes to agriculture, yes to retail, but no to smokehouses? Just, I don't know if that's a question for the town attorney or what.
That's not me.
I'm sorry, you're the only attorney that's out there, I apologize.
We just automatically.
I realize you're not the town attorney, but I mean, has there been any discussion of that at all?
I haven't heard any discussion about that.
Because I obviously as a member of the planning board, it would be helpful for us to have some direction from somebody else rather than us just making decisions. I don't think it's up to the planning board to decide, yes, allow all three, or no, don't allow any of them, or.
I didn't think the law was written that way. I didn't understand it to mean, and we may need to get clarification, I didn't understand it to mean that the law was written that way. The law is written to encompass all of those. I don't think you can selectively move one of them out of the law.
And one article to vote on, right?
Well, I understand it was one article to vote on, but it's up to the planning board to establish rules and regulations and, where it fits in zoning. And it seems to me there are three different functions. And as I said, my understanding is that there's at least one community, I forget who it is, that's just voted in moratorium period. They said, we don't
They don't want them any.
They don't want any of that activity.
It's not a moratorium, they just took the position of not allowing them, period, which you can do.
Okay.
Fireworks
but-
thing, right?
Okay, so I guess my question is it, where I'm heading is, I have to, what's the benefit to the town of having smokehouses located in town? Is there any tax revenue? No. What?
Chip, the way I looked at it, and I'm sure they'll weigh in, but the way that I was moving forward with this was the fact that the townspeople of this community, though it may be narrowly voted, approved the fact they were they were okay with the law as it was presented through the referendum vote. So, and our voters voted for it. So my thought process was, let's give ourselves some time, we can sit here and discuss it further, but at the end of the day, you're absolutely correct, at some point, this community will vote one way or the other, whether they want them or not.
Oh, so there will be a vote
Right.
at some point on how.
Yes, they can either vote for the regulations, or perhaps the planning board comes back and says, we don't want any, then that would be put forward, and then there'd be a vote upon that, so.
Yeah, the vote isn't whether we want it or not, the vote is gonna be what the planning board comes up with the regulation, whether it's allowed or not allowed, and if it's allowed, what are the performance standards for those allowable uses? We're not gonna go back and say, do we want marijuana or not, we're just gonna.
No, well,
town.
I'm sorry, I left out the fourth and most obvious function, which is it's legal for private citizens to possess a fairly large quantity for personal use of marijuana. And, that's.
That we don't.
That
wanna vote on. That's
is, the
just-
moratorium doesn't address that, that doesn't have anything to do with the planning board, that's the fact now, I think, as I understand it, so.
As of January 30th.
As of, okay, but, I mean, bottom line, there's the fourth part, and that's what everybody voted on.
I don't think anybody read this 30-page
I
document.
guarantee you nobody read the 30-page document, they just wanted to,
But even if the next week they vote no for the moratorium, I mean, the state's put it a 9-month, you said,
Right.
moratorium itself, so it's not really gonna matter, right?
They
Yes.
need,
Oh, no, it most
9
definitely
months,
matters.
It does?
they need to work on putting together the state regulations in order to have a retail facility and/or a social club.
Right, but we
So-
can't do anything till that's determined anyway.
Yes.
Okay.
well, we can't practically, but my understanding is if we don't adopt a moratorium, then someone could come into the next planning board meeting with an application for a smokehouse right next to the school, and if we don't have a moratorium, the planning board doesn't have any basis to say no.
That's my understanding too.
Okay.
I think it's just a case of
That's why-
putting this
that's
off
why.
for 6 months until the state gets their regulations put together. And hopefully in the meantime, we can be developing some reasonable regulation for the stuff.
You raise good questions, and as I've been thinking about this, now the legislature has recently, at least the veterans, whatever the committee was, unanimously adopted a moratorium of its own. Hasn't gone before the full legislature yet, but if it does, there's gonna be nothing done until next February. They're extending out the time within which they have to enact the appropriate regulations to next February. And my question is gonna be, if we enact the moratorium now, as to Chip's point, what are we gonna do? We don't know what the regulations are, we don't know what the state's gonna do, or there may be conflicts between what you do and the state does potentially. All you would do is, I guess, decide where they might be allowed or tolerated, whether they're conditional use or permitted uses, what additional conditions you might put on it as a conditional use, but that's about it, I think. And if we adopt this moratorium now, we're supposed to be working on it, and if you don't, we might not be able to extend moratorium if we haven't done it. So now the moratorium is running the same length of time as potentially the state's moratorium. So we might, I'm wondering if we're losing something. If we adopt a moratorium later, that could give us an opportunity after the state's deadline is passed to then look at it, decide what the legislature has enacted, and then come up with our own regulations or not.
Well, the other problem we've got is that if the town doesn't have any ordinance about retail sales of marijuana, what's to stop your Arundel market from putting marijuana cigarettes next to the tobacco cigarettes?
The state, they're not allowing the sale right now.
You can't sell it. You still can't do that.
Oh, you can't do
No,
that?
no, no.
No, you can possess it up to certain
It's
amounts. Yeah.
But if someone came, to your point, Chip, and wanted to set up a smokehouse or a retail, can't we just say, without having our own moratorium, the state's in moratorium, so we can't.
The state hasn't done it yet, but,
Oh, they haven't?
no, that's, they have to put it to the full legislature for a 2/3
Oh,
vote
I'm
yet.
sorry, and that's
It's
the
an
thing that would
emergency
go to February.
provision, so hopefully they're gonna do that before the 30th. And before we need to decide what to do, but I was just concerned about, the moratorium period, the maximum period would concurrent with potentially the state's period.
Yeah, you get one renewal. You
That's
get
right, we
one-
only get one.
So it
one
makes sense to
extension.
take ours and tack it on to the end of the states, as long as we're protected.
It might make some sense to give us at least 6 months after whatever the state does to work on our own legislation. But that means you won't enact this moratorium now.
If we enact a moratorium now, and we let it run its course of 180 days, then the state comes in another 180 days or so later, and they come up with their regulations, can we enact another moratorium back then? Because we've let this one lapse.
This one's gone and we can do it, the selectmen can extend another 180.
Extend, but what if we don't extend it? We let it run its course, and then 3-6 months down the road, the state finally comes up with their regulations. Can we enact a moratorium at that point so that we can do our rules and regulations based on theirs?
I think we'd have some difficulty doing that.
So, Chair, I believe that the state law really only allows you to have one 180-day moratorium and then do one additional 180-day extension, and that's it. You're done on the topic. The state did that famously with all the comprehensive plan stuff, and that's where most municipalities do it. So this is kind of uncharted territory. But it's an interesting theory. If we waste our time now, depending on what the legislature does. But I think one of the reasons why this was proposed was because it didn't look like the legislature was going to move before the 30th. And they seem to have kicked it up into second or third gear at this point. Maybe they'll act before the 30th, maybe they won't.
So maybe the best case is if the state acts before the 30th, we'll know that at the special town meeting,
Right.
and
Vote it down.
we can vote to table it.
I just raised that because I
Yeah.
think
It's a good
No,
point.
I think it's a very good
Makes
point.
sense.
We've already made
I mean,
that.
just selfishly, the more time, we need the state to give us a framework before we can figure out
I
what
mean,
we're
if you
doing.
look at this legislation, I mean, it's a mess. And reading through it, it makes your eyes cross.
It's almost
Make
as
sure
if
I
someone was
crossed
using a
everyone
product.
across. Yeah.
You can do that.
You mean stop the vote from taking place on Monday?
No, we can.
Oh.
Just vote to not allow it.
Not to allow it in the community at all.
Oh, okay.
Right, the planning board can make that recommendation,
They don't even have to, we could do it.
Oh,
They put
yeah,
it
we
before
can
the
do it
voters,
too.
period.
but they could put it in the
Sure.
use saying, it's not allowed anywhere in any of the zones, and that could be voted upon at the town hall sometimes.
If we decide to not allow it at all, how much static will we get from the voters that approved it at town meeting? And if we don't allow it at all, can we change that later down the road if we need to
Sure.
or want to?
You can.
You know,
I think we may find out from the 30th, how many people, hopefully we have a better, citizenry here to discuss the point with you all, but,
Perhaps
Maybe find
more
out.
rather than better would be the
Now, to Chip's point was, now, could we vote to say not to have retail and smokehouses, but, I mean, we are an agricultural community, but grow it still? You know what I'm saying? Can you break it up? Or it's either all or nothing?
I haven't looked at that question.
You haven't, okay.
But, I mean, it's a good question to ask.
There's so many people growing weed in closets right now.
Yeah.
It just doesn't matter.
remember,
I was just asking a question.
Besides
the
that,
town
if
voted
you want to
yes.
support agriculture, if you grow it, you gotta sell it.
It's selling here in our backyard.
That must be what they cut all those trees down on,
Yeah, Curtis Road, right.
you know, on River Road. The golf course, they cut down all those trees and get the field ready.
So in effect, if the state doesn't do anything before next Monday night, we have a choice of yes or no. And it might be better if we voted no and, as somebody said, saved our time out until sometime down the road.
Until we know what the state is gonna do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
And the
The-
planning board still can't do anything because there are no rules and regulations for them to go by. Is that correct? If we don't have a moratorium in place?
but they can start looking at, retail locations, those kinds of things under their preview.
But if
they so
someone came in
desire. Do
with
some
an
legwork.
application, they can't do anything, or the code enforcement officer can't do anything because we have no regulations to go by.
Well, I think they, this is,
Prohibited.
maybe you guys can weigh in on this, I think they'd have to, somebody come in asking for a permit. I don't know how we,
Did you just say no?
You just said,
Deny it?
No,
it's not in an ordinance.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
not permitted.
permitted use ordinance.
It's an
I'm sorry,
permitted use.
I'm missing something. If that's the case, then why are we even talking about a moratorium? I thought we had to have a moratorium.
It's probably a prudent, cautious thing to do, because it may be, somebody could make the argument in court that there is something in the ordinance that might suggest that
Right.
Okay, so
agriculture or horticulture, I don't
I-
know.
I-
Whatever
Just,
it is. Or retail
just
sales.
retail, I mean, the code enforcement officer can say he has the right to make that determination, say, you know what, this is retail, I can't argue that it's not.
But I guess my point is, if the state does take action by the 30th, then we don't need a moratorium. If the state doesn't take action, we really do need a moratorium.
The state doesn't do anything,
Just-
I agree, but I mean, I'm just
You mean
saying,
if they vote
I don't-
no?
But you'll know by the 30th, right?
I
that was
believe
the
that
last thing I heard, was the 30th.
So, at the meeting time, we will know,
we should.
hopefully, whether the
Oh.
state is gonna put the moratorium or not.
Mhm.
If they don't, can we table the vote?
Or just vote no.
But we could vote,
No, that's when you wanna vote, yeah.
we could vote to eliminate it entirely, and then like Phil had asked, we could change it later.
Yep.
If we can't on the
Not at
30th.
this
We can't on the 30th, it would have to be at a town, another special town meeting or town meeting in June.
Correct.
Has there been any application for any kind of a permit or a license or anything at this point for any retail or grow operations or anything?
No,
Nothing,
just had a couple phone calls.
inquiry, but no site plan, senior source or anything like that. In your expertise, if somebody did file for an application, even though they can't, there's no permit and they couldn't get it, have they in effect beat the clock? Because my understanding is that you can't pass zoning to frustrate a single project, so if you don't have a moratorium, somebody has filed an application or submitted a site plan,
Depending on what they've done, they could be protected under 302.
so they could still go wherever it is they wanna go if you don't have a moratorium in place.
Right. Potentially.
Once there's a permit that will allow it.
Well, I mean, I think we'd end up going through the process. We'd say, no, we'd go to court and have the court decide whether in fact, I think we would do that. And if we lose at that level, then yeah, they'll be protected, or he or she or it, whatever.
Any more questions on this article?
So I couldn't even amend that article the night of the 30th.
No.
No. No, we have to have another special town meeting. to just vote no. Okay, the next article says, shall the town repeal the Arundel Land Use Ordinance dated June 15th, 2016, and replace it with the reformatted Arundel Land Use Ordinance dated December 5th, 2016, containing reorganization of chapters, addition of informative headings, renumbering of all sections, and the deletion of repetitive text. Appendix B, copies of which are available at the office of the town clerk. And there is an explanation. The planning board has worked to provide a more effective, user-friendly ordinance so the general public can maneuver within the document to obtain the necessary information for their respective needs. Any questions or comments? Okay. And Article 4 says to receive a fiscal status report of the Arundel Seasonal Cottages Municipal Development and Tax Financing District for FY 2016 as mandated as a condition of the TIF program approved by the Maine Department of Economic and Community Development, Appendix C. Explanation: the Department of Economic and Community Development approved the Cape Arundel Seasonal Cottage Tax Increment Financing District with the condition that town staff report the project's captured value for the previous year at a town meeting. The report will be delivered at the special town meeting, will be for fiscal year 2015-2016. Any questions or comments?
Yeah, what is it?
Yes.
Question.
Yeah.
To receive a fiscal, I mean, what are you, just saying thanks?
No, I just tell you what your status
Well,
is.
I had a question on, I mean, as I read the report that was on there, and there was zero.
Right.
Because of a reclassification or something, so we've captured no value.
In that fiscal year, we captured zero value.
That's correct. So are there funds available for any of the uses that the TIF was intended for, which was to promote economic development in the town? I speak primarily of the sewer that's now going on.
The funding for that year has come and gone, and we didn't get any money to use on that. The current fiscal year we are in right now, I believe we have about $20,000 in captured value that we
Right.
actual revenue that we've gotten from our
Right.
captured value. And what I'll report, which I'll report to you right now, is that based on projections, you know, the assessor has sat down, all sat down with the developer
Yeah,
and looked
right.
at the number of units that have been completed and how many that we anticipate are gonna be completed by March 31st, which is our deadline. That's the deadline, that's when the photograph is taken of what's up there.
Captured value,
And that's
right.
assessed. The projections are, we will be doubling the value from 7 million, which it is right now, to over $15 million in value. So we'll be basically doubling our captured value. So our monetary flow is increasing. In fact, it's doubled from last year. We project 40,000.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so it's working.
And who are you?
I'm telling
So we're not actually voting on anything, he's just sharing.
just a report.
It's just a report.
And I really don't understand why we're doing this at
It's
a,
required as part of the documents.
I
I understand, but why do we do it at the town meeting where there's, the normal town meeting was like 75 people instead of the 5 that will be there next Monday?
It's a timing issue, Linda. The information for this report isn't available in a timely manner for the.
Will it be
regular
posted on the
town
site?
meeting.
It's on the site now.
Yeah, it's on the site now.
It's on the site right now.
Yeah, the problem is that this requirement was basically instituted by the attorney who's in charge of the TIF program, and she is used to town council form of government, as opposed to town meeting form of government, and does not realize that in our situation, our commitment date is after town meeting. So I can't give you an accurate count of what the actual dollar figure that we're gonna get until August, when the assessor does her final commitment. But they want us to give the report in June prior to, so it would be all guesswork. So everything's a year behind as a result of that, and we needed to get it done. So we'll have a report at the June meeting on this past fiscal year, we'll have a report on that, and then we'll give you an estimate of what's gonna happen in the next fiscal year, and we'll give you the final estimate. We only have to do it for 3 years, and then that requirement's complete. And then we can just run on that.
I do have a question. The report explains that the decline in assessed value is due to the owner combining parcels. Actually, I've got two questions. The first question is, why didn't anyone foresee that when this project was going forward? Because I feel certain that the developer knew they were going to be doing that to avoid paying taxes. And the second question is, I may be mistaken, but I believe that some of the property that the project is supposed to be on still has not been purchased by the Cecil Cottage project. Therefore, that assessed value isn't being captured, and that seems at a loss for a polite adjective. Squirrely.
Good work.
I'm not sure I'm going to respond to the adjective, but I will respond to the fact that your assessment is absolutely correct. That the developer had not purchased the back portion of land, and therefore that value was not, that was part of the original OEM, the original valuation. That was part of it, but he had not purchased it yet, so it wasn't included in that calculation, resulting in a net loss. The thing that's interesting about it is, remember that we're in a situation where the developer gets a return on the valuation that we received, and so not doing these actions has hurt him financially as well. So,
I'm sorry,
when I informed him of
I
that,
don't follow that part.
well, there's
He gets a portion.
he gets a portion back. He gets a portion of the money's back. And so when he doesn't have value, he doesn't get money back, right? So it hurts him as well. So there's a mutual incentive there.
That's the deal.
Okay, then my follow-up question is, since TIF stands for tax increment financing, if he was anticipating cash, the 75% of the incremental taxes, and there is no 75% of the incremental taxes, is there any issue with financing, with the property owner's financing?
No. His cash flow remains the same. I informed him of this situation in 2 drawdown meetings before he went, oh, well, how'd that happen? He wasn't even aware. So this is
Strong
privately
financing.
financed.
He's got strong financing.
He's got extremely strong.
We looked at that at the Economic Development Committee when he came to us. He's got very strong financing.
Okay, so
You know,
He doesn't need us.
He's not waiting on this.
It's not
no.
pinned on this revenue stream.
No.
That's the, okay.
Exactly. If it was, you're right, we would have a problem, but it is not. So, kind of lucky that way.
Any more questions, comments? Then we'll close the public hearing and go into our regular meeting. Yeah. Approval of the agenda.
So move.
I'll second.
All in favor? Good.
Get to Wheeling.
And public forum, which is where anyone can comment on an item not on the agenda. Yes.
I see, once again, there is a executive session planned on the discussion of the purchase of property on Limerick Road. I know this is what, the third or fourth one of these that you've had, and I only rise to ask that you expedite your decision-making as fast as you can, because this is an important project for the town. It's important, as you know, for the conservation trust that's under development, and it would really be helpful for all of us, including you, I'm sure, to reach a decision on this. I don't know what it's going to be, I have no idea, but please, I ask you not to sacrifice the good for the perfect.
Thank anything else under public forum? Then we'll go on to approve the minutes of January 9th.
Move to approve as prepared.
Okay, second,
Second?
and all in favor? All right, committee and board reports. Planning board meeting?
When's the next planning board meeting?
This Thursday.
What's on the agenda this Thursday? I have to mark in my calendar to be here for some reason.
We have Frinkle Pond Farm.
Du Bois.
And Du Bois. And then we also have shoreline zoning and farm retail zoning changes.
What's Du Bois for?
Renewal of their auto salvage yard.
All the time, yeah.
Every 3 years, they, as you know.
Something I love to do, right?
No, he passed last month, last meeting. He passed it, and Sergeant Gravel Pit, was renamed. So those are all done.
Okay. Budget board meeting?
Yes, as most of you know, we had a meeting with the budget board and the board of selectmen last Wednesday. Our next meeting is Wednesday, February 1st at 7 o'clock here in the library. We'll be discussing the public works budget, transfer station, general assistance. And I was gonna have recreation, but she has a scheduling conflict, so I'm gonna push her to the meeting of the 15th. Public is obviously invited to those as we discuss them. And see you all on Wednesday the 1st.
Okay. Managers report, Spirit of American Foundation tribute.
Yeah, just got this email on last Saturday reference to a main group that tries to put together each community officially put together award to some citizen who has done things within their community that are well recognized by others. And as a result, they would give them, in addition to whatever accolades the local folks would provide, they would also provide them as well. It's more of there's a lot of communities that are sort of taking on, and they're just asking if we want to be involved in it, quite frankly. At some point here in the future. Generally, I'd like to have it expressed at annual town meetings if we're going to sort of dedicate the town report or something like that. And we're going to also encourage them to be part of the Spirit of America Foundation tribute. So, something to give some thought to. It's entirely up to you folks if you want to be part of that. Next thing that I just wanted to share was back in January, I received the NDOT work plan calendar for years 2017, 18, 19. I provided them in your packet. And I'll just go through them so the public who's here can also understand what we're looking at. In 2017, it appears they're going to conduct a bridge rehab on the Route 1 railroad crossing over the BMN Railroad, located just 2.8 miles south of the Bedford town line. That's scheduled to happen this year, coming up. They have highway paving in 2017 on Route 35. We have a very short amount of Route 35, which is in Rundle, but it will be included with the looks like they're gonna do 2.64 miles from Kimball Lane extending northwest. Looks like it's gonna go into alignment, so that piece of Route 35 will be completed. 2017, they're going to do a highway construction rehabilitation beginning on Route 111 at the Route 35 intersection with 111, extending 1 mile to Thompson Road. I think it includes paving, ditching, things along those lines. Not quite sure what other enhancements they have involved there. And 20, that must be it.
Yeah.
17, 18, 19.
Hey Keith, I'm sorry, but could you give us that first item again? Yeah.
Bridge rehab?
Yeah, where?
It's on the bridge that goes Route 1 on the northern section of town, right near the Bedford line. Now it goes up over the lip.
By
B&M
the-
Railroad rides underneath.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're gonna rehab that bridge.
oh, right by
I
the.
thought they said 2.8 miles south of the
Yeah.
Bedford
Yeah.
line.
No,
Point two eight.
0.28.
Point
Point
two.
two.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
so it's right next to the town line, okay.
It's where that antique shop.
Right, absolutely.
Right where-
The only railroad bridge on Route 1 in London.
Yeah.
Narrowed it down.
That's all I have to report on that.
And for the general public that wants to know, 1819 is subject to change, but the new road is when they plan on doing new road 111.
Correct.
Alfred Road. But again, that's DOT, so that's subject to change.
Yes, they're, 18, 19, they're doing the new road intersection with signalization, I'm sorry, I missed
Oh,
that.
Yes, yes.
And
That's a
they're
killer.
also going to do a safety improvement along that road as well in 18, 19.
So the signal is Route 1 and Cabin Road, they're not putting signals on 111 and.
No,
Oh,
you're
why
right.
not?
It says without signal,
No, no signal.
without signal.
Oh. So where's the signal going?
Cabin, they're gonna do something on Route 1 and Log Cabin Road.
I think they're
Signal
gonna
there
redo
now.
the
There's one already there
traffic.
now.
There's one there now, but they're gonna do some improvements there.
No.
Again, that's 1819, I know this can change. You can go to the main website and go to the DOT portal and get all this information, it's pretty easy to get to.
Maybe the street.
Okay,
That's all I have.
alrighty. When are they coming to, oh, it's down there under new business. Old business draft policy, enforcement matters related to planning board and CEO.
Yes, I provided a draft for collection. If you recall at your last business meeting, Selectman Ganlick had a plethora of things that he thought were important to add to the policy. And we've provided them in draft for your review. Not quite sure if you're ready to accept it, and I'm sure you probably would like to have a little more time to take a look at it and perhaps ask some more information at your next business meeting. I will have it at that point. If I don't hear any strong objections, have it ready for signage if in fact you would want to implement it.
There's a typo in paragraph 5, it says conform, it should say confirmed. Fourth sentence down.
If the existence of said
Yeah.
violation is conformed. Alright.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Confirmed, okay.
Don't hesitate, folks, to chew this thing up. This is my just shot at this thing.
I looked at it and I thought it looked pretty good.
We didn't even miss a form.
Yeah.
So I'll, unless if I hear something or if you see something you want to change.
What about some of these time periods? I just inserted these in here. It's kind of, those are the normal time periods I often see in some of these situations. You know, it's 30 days. to give somebody an opportunity to correct whatever violation may be.
I mean, I like the, you know, the initial notification within 5 business days, I think that works out all right, that works out pretty good.
Mhm.
I thought that was good. 30 days. Fine for me.
You guys are okay with, once he notifies of the violation, once the CEO notifies the developer or whoever it might be of the violation, they give him 30 days, or no more than 30 days to correct it? Or should it be longer than that? Although I did build in here, so, I mean, it still has to come before us, so if we were to decide to delay enforcement proceedings and give an opportunity, developer an opportunity to correct, that's still available, so.
Yeah, if the developer is in the process of correcting the problem, we can still give them a little time.
That's to come, first to Keith and then to us to decide what to do, and when those decisions could be made. Certainly, we're not gonna take any action now.
Yeah.
We'll wait if progress is being made.
Yeah.
But I just thought, it's always good to have time periods, so people just,
Yeah. I'm good with the 30 days if we have a little flexibility.
What's this about the stop work order? In other words, it looks like it says no building permit shall be issued or
Right.
cited until the violation is resolved. In the event it's not resolved within that time period, which is 30 days, the
Right.
CEO will issue a stop work order.
and then it comes to us to decide.
But the stop work order is still issued.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, we want things to stop, we can come back and say, okay, you know what, yeah, he's making good on it, okay, we'll leave stop issue back, but.
Okay.
Have you shared this with Jim and Tad as well?
I haven't shared shared all the drafts, with the exception of this one. I wanted to make sure it came to you first,
Okay.
and then I would share it with them.
Yeah, 'cause I like their input.
Want this on our next, agenda, the signage?
Place it on the next agenda for approval.
Okay. New business, MDOT center line rumble strip installation.
I think I'm a little early in my zeal to get them here.
Yeah.
I checked my messages and I checked my calendar. I have them scheduled for your first meeting in February. So, it will be the 13th, I believe.
We had a letter from a citizen about rumble strips. We have something?
We had, there was a individual who lives in Kennybunk who has dealt with rumble strip installations and the noises that are associated with them, and offered his services and/or us to look at some of the videos that have been done. I guess Minnesota and California, the different designs provide different types of noise amounts that have been used. I'm not quite sure what the state uses for theirs. All I know is during the summer night in my house in Wells, I can hear the rumble strip and turnpike, and I'm probably 3 or 4 miles away from it, so.
I can hear the rumble strips on the turnpike all the time from my house.
Yeah,
I hear it more in the winter than I do in the summer, but
Yeah.
I hear it, and on the bottom mile, as a crow flies.
Yeah. So, their design may be one that enhances the noise, I'm not sure. The gentleman who provided that, and I will email you his response, provided different types of designs for the middle as opposed to the shoulder, seeing that the middle was probably more important. People are distracted to really feel a vibration and so on and so forth, so.
Isn't the noise part of the intent?
I believe it is, yeah.
Should be.
Yeah.
Right, yep.
Yeah.
Well, they're just gonna do centerline, they're not gonna do shoulder on the one,
I
right?
did not see that within their letter to us, the center lane rumble strip installation.
Sideline rumble strips are on shoulders that are 4 feet or more. So we have a 8-foot shoulder on Route 1.
we may wanna talk to them about that when they're here, see if that's part of maybe future installation or something they would consider.
Okay. Town webpage on Facebook. Linda?
I don't know, you don't know, does anybody know how? I mean, I don't have to, I was just gonna show you some examples and stuff. Basically, I think the town of Arundel should have a,
Put that on, Linda?
yeah,
Can you, oh, you can hook up?
Sure, she's Becky.
She's got it all.
Latest stuff.
I'll leave it stop. I think I can. Oh, you had one here, I didn't even need to bring mine. Do not remove.
I'm not sure how that thing fires up.
I think as soon as you plug in, it'll come on.
Better make sure I don't have anything on my.
Yeah.
It's still standby, so.
Maybe just one more.
If it works, you can, you know.
I got the wrong one? HDMI?
What make device are you using, Linda? Because I think there's a hookup for Apple and there's a different hookup for PC. I don't know what kind of system you're running.
Yeah, no, this isn't the right, this is, I brought my own hookup to hook to HDMI.
Here is for you. Rumble strip.
Transporter's kicking in.
There
Oh,
we go.
Scotty, and get the dilithium going.
Yes, yeah.
It's pretty funny.
Maybe-
Did you hear what I said? Or did you come up with it separately? I just.
No, I'm all
wanted
set, I
something
can,
that
I
Oh,
actually,
no.
gotta say, oh, look at that.
We have movies.
Wow, look at that.
So basically, I just did like a little preliminary thing of what, you know, what basically it would look like. There's not really anything on it because it's not live yet. But basically, I just think, you know, all the surrounding towns around us have town of Kennebunk, town of Kennebunkport,
Brady, that's what I.
you know, and it's just putting informative stuff on there of what, oh, that one has, yeah, fundraising event that they're having. Actually, skate swap, that's kind of unusual, but, it's my desperate attempt to try to get some of the townspeople engaged in knowing what's going on in the town.
It's great.
So would your headline be the town of Arundel, and then underneath that, the thing about the Down East?
Oh, no, that thing about, I just, basically all I did with that, I just needed a cover photo, and I thought that was, I mean, that would be one of the important things that we would probably feature, is that we were voted one of the best places to live. I mean, just positive, feel-good stuff, meetings, whatever's going on in the town. Next Monday's vote, in town of Kennebunk's case, they're really hitting the dog license thing. You know, I think they posted it like 100 times. They really want to get all those dogs registered, as you can see. But they also on their site, and I don't know, it's on the computer, so I don't know if it'll show here. Oh, whoop, sorry. They list right on there that, let me see if I can pull it up. They state, you know, there's no posting of things that, you know, they have reserved the right to take anybody off, they reserve the right to ban anybody, that basically, they're
So
posting
are
things.
the town's running those sites?
Right now, the town of Kennebunkport, it was just in the paper last week,
Yeah.
that they're looking to subcontract theirs out because they don't have anybody in-house that's doing it. I believe the town of Kennebunkport is doing their own. They usually have somebody in, it's not a big time-consuming thing.
It becomes time consuming if a ton of people post.
Well, basically, I mean, you can't just, I mean, it'll be set up so that there will be, I don't know why this is, no, it'll be set up in such a way that only people that are authorized to like put a posting on, and then people can comment underneath it. So it's not like they can just go and post anything, you know what I'm saying?
But if they're making comments, who would be the one to determine that comment is not appropriate, you're off, gone?
What I would recommend is, I mean, basically I get notifications. I would recommend that somebody else in the office receive a notification as well. I know like the Arundel Historical Society page, Velma, I maintain that one. She's also an administrator, so you receive notifications, right, when people post to it.
I don't get around it as well as you do, but.
But no, but you know what's going on, and that's the point. She's aware of what's on that site. And it's the same thing with the Economic Development Committee site, which, I don't know why that other one's not coming up. These are all my pages I manage, look at that.
Good Lord, Linda.
Where are you? So, like on the Economic Development Committee site, this is where we're posting all the business stuff. And I originally said that, you know, we can switch this one over to the town, but I gave some thought to that, and I'd really rather not, because there's some really good business stuff that you can't see here on this page. I don't know why it's not pulling up, I don't know if there's not a, it's thinking, you can see where it's thinking up there, but it's
Hey,
not,
Linda.
it doesn't wanna come up.
Just a dumb question, but is the Economic Development Committee active?
No, but the pages,
No, I know the page is, but if I'm
Where's
an
the
outsider,
committee? What's happened to the
No, the
committee?
committee's not active.
the committee is
not
not
active right
active.
now.
Correct.
But that's something for another meeting and
I
discussion,
understand.
but, yeah, no. But, so we post the business stuff on that one, I really think it's important to keep it, because, like I said, there's a lot of good business stuff on
I'm
there.
gonna think about renaming.
If you could see it.
No, like, well,
No.
another discussion.
So Keith could be an administrator and he would get,
Or anybody in the office, and basically you just, you know, I don't know, you would just get notifications if, you know, when something's posted. Honestly, I've been doing the Arundel Chatter group, for, well, since we did the RSU thing.
Yeah.
I mean, if anybody was gonna do anything inappropriate, that would have been the site to do it.
Yeah.
And we really didn't have any problems. I didn't have to block or cut any, you know, delete anything, to be honest. I stopped a conversation
Yeah.
because it was just like going in all different directions, and people didn't know what they were responding to at that point, so we stopped the conversation so they could start another conversation. But that's a little different scenario. That's a group. That's where anybody can post anything. I shouldn't say it like that. That's where anybody can put a topic up there for discussion. It's clearly written in there that, you know, keep it nice. Don't, you know.
But
But
with this, there'd only be authorized people who could post, and so the
the
community would simply be commenting on
Okay.
authorized by the town posts.
what? Oh,
Your
my
password.
God, you got it?
Yeah.
I wouldn't find
So did
anything
public.
too exciting in there. Yeah, this is what happens to me whenever I get into this building. This happened last time, I
So
couldn't pull
what,
stuff up.
what's the worst fear of people? What are people afraid of about, in terms of putting up a Facebook page for Arundel? What could go wrong?
I don't,
In this age and age of fake news, you know, posting anything, making comments, people spitballing back and forth, and this is under the auspices of the town, this is gonna appear as it is. I have some concerns about that
Yeah.
happening.
no, I
But nobody can post.
Nobody can post,
They
except.
can
No,
make comments.
they can make
They
comments.
can make comments.
So-
You can set it up so they don't, but then again, then you don't have people
You know,
interacting, you
Understand,
don't,
I
yeah.
can see where that, you know, depending upon the issue, like the RSU issue or another one that may come up.
But-
Marijuana.
but
Yeah.
Tom,
But
just
can it be-
following that thought for a second. Suppose there is an inappropriate comment. and somebody comments on a comment, that can be stopped, right, Linda?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I
It
mean,
can be
but
stopped,
then
it can be
then
deleted,
you have
it
to
can-
decide who's gonna make the decision.
Well, the
That's inappropriate.
administrator, which is Keith
Well,
or.
okay, but what if Linda's on one side of the issue?
Oh, I'm not, oh, you gotta know me better than that.
But
Well,
the perception would be,
Perception is right.
I
So-
know,
so that's not a
and you know what?
non-biased-
You're absolutely right. I maintain the site. Everybody knows that I maintain the Arundel Chatter site. And so, I mean, anybody can post to this site. It's not just me, but apparently I'm doing the majority of it. I know there is still some resentment and this whole RSU thing. And that's why I don't feel like I'm getting the engagement on the site that I would like to get. It would be really fantastic if people would just be, you know, because I know they're paying attention. Because when we post something about the RSU, like, okay, this is a fine example now. Not saying, Michael Laveria, this was the most fantastic thing, him getting that Fitzpatrick Award. I think it's fantastic. But, no, I shouldn't say but. Lots of likes for a certain side of the, and then when we post about how we did so well regarding the Mildred All Day testing, no likes from the other side. But that being said, everybody was really nice. Nobody said anything. Nobody did anything inappropriate. You could just see there's still that resentment. You could see who was liking one subject and somebody was liking the other. Huh?
You can see that Velma made a comment.
Velma made a comment, so Velma's paying attention.
So did Dot, so did a lot of people did.
Where is it? Was it this one you commented on? No.
No, the one about Kevin.
The one about Kevin. Oh, there you go. So you, here you go.
And anybody that sees that knows that, I mean, even from looking at my comments, they know which side I'm on. I'm definitely on the school side, I'm definitely on the kids' side, and I believe in the RSU, so they know that.
But like this, I posted the meeting tonight.
Yeah.
One like.
So again,
And Dot didn't even come.
The dot didn't even come.
So again, I put the question, what is the purpose of doing this? What do we- what does
Eventually, I think
success-
people are gonna get over it, we're
what
gonna get
does
people
success-
engaged in.
Let me finish. What does success look like? And I don't know who's gonna answer that, but I'm sure there'll be different responses depending on who answers. What are we looking for?
Don't know till you try.
More people to read the post when she posts links?
Yeah.
More
Yeah.
community, more engagement, more interest?
I'm looking
All
for
of
more
that.
community engagement
Yep.
in everything, and not just
And
town
this
meetings.
this format has been proven with other towns, right, to do that, to increase
I've
community
seen some
and-
very successful, like right now, I equate this Arundel Chatter thing a little bit to the Three Towns, One Community thing that, Kennebunk and Arundel was doing. The only problem, I mean, and that's a great site, cause, oh, here we go.
Well, the nice thing about something like this is, we've got our own webpage that you can go and look at stuff. You know, if you wanna know about a meeting, you can pull up our webpage and go and look at it. But with Facebook, it pushes it to you.
Yeah,
So it just,
That's,
that to me
that's
is the
the
big
difference.
difference.
it's a push,
people
right?
don't think to go and look on the,
That's right.
on the website.
But if you
This
look
is
at
like putting it
Facebook
out
and
there
you're
in
part
front
of
of you.
that, it
If you,
comes
if
to
you
you.
follow it, you get the notification.
Yeah. Right.
This is the Chamber's website, Three Towns,
Well,
One Community.
This is it's not their business page. This is like the Arundel Chatter one. This is the group where everybody can post. So it doesn't, you know, it's not the same. Yes, it's originally administered by the chamber, but anybody can post to it. So, and it's just, again, community involvement, things that are going on in town, in the three towns.
Yeah.
You know, personally, I think it would be great if all of Arundel was on this one.
Yeah.
And then we wouldn't have, but that's not gonna happen right now. That's a long ways down the road. So that's why I want the separate Arundel one.
And if
People
we-
find out about things on Facebook.
Most
They
people on
do.
Facebook have their favorite sites that they
And,
visit.
you know, if we're trying to reach out to the younger community, younger than anyone in this room, I think, this is a great way to do it.
Yeah.
I think so.
This is where they live.
Linda, is it possible to get statistics on how many people look at these pages on a
Yes.
daily basis?
Can I get them on my phone? That I couldn't tell you. But there are, it's called Insights, and it pulls up how many people you've reached and so forth and so on. And it's not gonna come up for me.
You certainly can see how many followers that you have, and that would be a gauge of the people going in looking, and if you're a follower, you're a follower because you want these push notifications to come to you, so
Yeah.
you certainly see that.
I'm part of the Arundel Chatter,
So the only question that I have is, it seems to me that, I know there's some site that I visit, when you post a comment, it doesn't get, it gets reviewed before it gets put out.
You can set it up to do it
Right,
that way.
so I mean, I haven't been in anything like that for a while, but I'm wondering if that's still available, if that's something that maybe we would want to decide to do.
It is available. Personally, I think, wait and see what happens. I can't imagine, I mean,
But we certainly don't have anything pressing out there today, right, that's
No.
breaking
if I could get
community
anybody
apart.
to respond, I would be happy. So, I don't wanna block them.
and even on this site, you have a closed group, 254 members. If somebody wanted to become a member of that group,
They
you as
just,
an administrator have to approve them, right?
no, I don't. You as a member can ask it, you can accept, can ask, invite people.
Oh, okay.
So, if somebody that didn't get invited by anybody in the group, they would have to send a request.
Okay.
But, same picture of my son there. I don't know why
It was
that's
the,
not coming
it
up
was the
now.
lunch date we wanted to run.
Yeah.
Huh?
It's your lunch date
We
tomorrow.
wanna
You
know
got a lunch
what's
date
tomorrow,
tomorrow,
and
just-
if I'm getting at 12 o'clock.
How did you see that?
It just popped up. And Duke wrote it down
Yeah, I
too,
don't,
so.
wait for the text to come through, that's really embarrassed me.
Are you all set with that?
I am, I'm set, I'm all set if you guys are all set, so. You have any questions? I know that's not the best presentation in the world, but
Hey, pretty damn good.
all I have.
I'm on Facebook, I usually check it 2 or 3 times a day. I have 3 or 4 sites that I have tagged as my favorites, and I just go in and check them for comments, information, see what's going on.
That's a good idea.
It's a great idea. Okay, so we might go back to the payable warrants.
And as Linda said, I mean, I even think that with the, I mean, she administers the Historical Society, the one for the Arundel Chatter, and we just changed the name of that one.
Yeah.
And how much time does that take you a day for each one? Sometimes nothing.
Yeah, I mean, like the thing with, I mean, it shouldn't, like things that are going on in Arundel, like the Arundel Chatter thing, I mean, that would be kinda nice if other people do some stuff up there. I wouldn't have to keep throwing stuff up, I think it might, just saying.
Just saying, what are you looking at us for?
I don't know.
The town one would be different, it would only be administrators, so,
But we could have the town clerk, we could have the town manager, the administrators.
I think we gotta pose that question to the town manager, and the you know.
Yeah,
It's nothing.
yeah, I don't know, is anybody in the town, I mean, or do you have that blocked? I mean, my IT guy has that locked up tighter than a drum, so they couldn't get on Facebook during the day if they wanted to. So I don't know if,
no, we don't do that.
what, block it?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not blocked within the.
So
within
you
the
could
system.
type in Facebook and it would come up on your,
Well,
Or
they
if you
can
have
set it
your
up
own-
any way, you
if
can have it
your
done
own phone,
through a
yeah,
notification on the,
It will go through our internet service to provide it to you or anything like that, so. Yeah, it's not blocked in any way.
Yeah.
I think it's a great tool to get information out. My only fear with it, and I think you've touched upon some of it here, is when there's an event that there's communication going between people and information isn't factual, and the town knows it's not factual, how are we gonna react to that? And it appears that the administrator and maybe myself will have the ability to maybe express what the factual information is, to stop maybe, you know, I've seen those things when they start rolling down the hill and they just get bigger and bigger if somebody doesn't interject what's actually true within the information, so that would be my concern.
You
Truth
block,
isn't enough sometimes these days, apparently.
you block the conversation.
Yeah.
You stop the conversation, or if you want, you can put an explanation why you block the conversation, or you can delete the conversation. There's all kinds of different things that you can do. I think, and I mean, maybe I am biased towards, but that whole RSU thing,
Yeah,
I think I handled it quite well, and I
Very
was.
well.
yeah.
Well, the
I
other thing
mean-
too is if we have a controversial thing that goes up there, I mean, you know, you as whoever the administrator is, can put something in there but not allow comments, right? You can
Right.
state the facts, you can put it
If there's
out
something that
there.
you don't want comments on, I'm sure you
Right.
can set it up so there's no comments on that one, but. I mean, people ask questions, if we put something up for the Arundel Historical Society, or for, you know, or the EDC, some business thing, they might have a question that they wanna ask, or
Same thing with the
or
rec.
they might wanna
It would be
share
great
it, if
for
you
the
block
rec
it and you
department.
stop it, then
Yeah.
they can't share it, sometimes you want them to share the stuff on their site, so that,
Because we've just been introduced to a new concept of alternative facts, isn't that the term that's out there now?
we're not talking politics.
Yeah. And how come I
Sorry.
can't share, you put up on the Historical Society the event that we're having in February, and
I'm wondering if it's because
I can't share it.
you can't share it, my guess is
This the
because,
historical society plug?
yes,
Yes.
there is a talk
Yeah,
by a book author on
Yeah.
February 12th,
I mean, I could go in,
right here.
I could go in and invite a whole bunch of people on my friends list, but I couldn't share it with my regular Facebook
I
page.
think it's the gentleman that created it, maybe because they're not. My guess is we'll have to create, we'll have to create our own invite. That was his invite that I shared,
Oh, well, if you
and I'm
could
friends
create-
with him, so maybe that's why. So
You
So how do you wanna proceed on this?
I think we should proceed, and I'll make a motion to move forward with this. Give Linda the, if Linda so chooses to accept, the authority to put it together. And, we can make a determination of that, once it gets in there, we can kind of monitor a little bit. I would like to see somebody from, that's a member of that's employed by the town, to me, that. we need to
Oh, I would
kick in
definitely
on
would
that.
like another administrator
Yeah.
on there.
Cause it's gonna take
Just-
time from them, I don't know how much, but, you know,
No training, perhaps.
Yeah, I think that if you want us to proceed, I think that, you know, I've got some things that I can express with Linda. She's got far more knowledge in terms of how this Facebook thing works than I, and we can probably put something together. I'd like to see it in writing, that we have some sort of thought process here, and that this is what we're gonna do, and then we can present that back to you, so we can move forward with this, and give it a try.
Okay, we've got a motion, do I have a second?
Is that your motion, Tim?
Yeah. What
made
he
a
said.
motion.
Are you making a motion?
I
Do I have to write
think
anything?
proceed forward
Yeah.
and let Keith work out the details with Linda and come back to us.
If we,
I was just gonna say, my presentation's done.
if we implement this and we find that we don't like it or it isn't doing what we want, we can shut it down anytime.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Doesn't cost you a nickel.
My husband had, I'll give you a story, my husband had a Facebook page, and his insurance company snoops, so all you builders, so that you know, insurance companies snoop on your Facebook pages. They found out he was doing snow removal. And, they questioned him, so shut it right down. I'm just saying.
On my Facebook.
Huh? That's,
They're not gonna snoop on my Facebook.
He doesn't have one.
But yeah, I'll just tell you, business owners, your insurance companies snoop on your Facebook pages.
Ah,
You
ah.
can lock them up pretty good.
But yeah, no, it disappeared quick, as quick as it came about.
We come right down here.
It's gonna get hit.
And my wife and I both have them, we get locked up together.
Do we have a second on that motion?
I'll second.
Okay, all right, now Chip had a question, he had his hand up.
I think it's really important that any notices that go on the town website, if you have this Facebook page, need to be on the Facebook page
Mhm.
also.
Yep.
Somebody who works for the town needs to be responsible for making sure that if there's a notice of a public hearing or whatever, that either that they always show up on the Facebook page or they never show up on the Facebook page. If you follow me.
Yes,
I-
he's got a pretty valid point.
We can't have a situation
Can't be
where
erratic.
9 times out of 10, something of public hearings for the planning board show up on the Facebook page, and the 10th time it doesn't, and then we get criticized because somebody has gotten used to, depending on the Facebook page, stop going to the town website. I guess my concern is we have a website, not the greatest website in the world, but it's far from the worst. We gotta make sure that there's, that it's.
There's congruence.
It's hard to do when you're going by, like if I'm scamming the York County Co-Star or Post for articles to throw on there, I don't get them all.
No, but town notices is what Chip is getting at,
Yeah.
not
If-
news.
If a
Town
notice
notice.
goes
Right,
on the,
so that's, I mean, I think that would be for us to decide. And on the Facebook page, you can always, you know, you can put a link on the Facebook page for town notices or whatever, and send it back to the town page.
Which might very well be the thing, and I just wanted to bring
Yeah.
up
Yeah,
the importance of.
so that would be something that.
Well, as a practical matter, I probably do 99% of the town notices that go on the website. It wouldn't be a big deal to, email it to Linda.
Perfect,
to
just let me know that
post
you put something on there and that'll,
Or if you can take it off the website, or would it be
That's
easier if
right.
I just emailed it to you as an attachment?
I just steal it from the website. That's what I've been doing.
I mean, oh, okay.
Cut and paste.
Steal and share shamelessly.
yeah,
To Chip's point though, you may wanna have a
Well,
disclaimer
We're
someplace,
gonna,
yeah.
letting people know that this is not the official town website and you ought to go there with respect to any town-related business.
that's a good
Not
idea.
just
I
simply rely.
Yeah.
I think that's a really great idea.
Well, I did write
must
up a
be a
thing,
lawyer.
I actually stole it from the town of Kennebunkport
Must be a
website,
lawyer.
but it was more about like,
He's not
what
even
is
an
allowed to be
attorney.
posted and our rights to take
Just
anything
turn
off
the
that we
names out.
didn't see was appropriate and stuff. I tried to pull it up, but I couldn't, I should have made a copy of it. But that'd be a good place too to put in there a disclaimer that it's not the official website, there is some stuff missing.
Mhm.
So I think, Linda, if you put something up, put something together and then just send us what the link is, and those of us that are on Facebook, we can go
Okay.
play, we can go look, we can,
See what it looks like.
It'll
be- it'll change. We'll modify as it
Put a
goes,
link
as it
on the
grows.
homepage of the website, which
So is
might
there a
get you a little bit of traffic.
She hasn't called the vote yet.
In response to your question about not being able to find that ordinance, if you could pull up the homepage of the website, I can show you how to get to it.
Well, I finally had to go into the thing where, alphabetical.
Oh, you can find it, yeah.
I was waiting for the discussion. Okay, no more discussion then, all in favor? All right, take it from these.
Take it from there? Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Well, I haven't seen you here in a while. So I'll give you a buzz or maybe next week? Yeah.
Make a motion, we go into executive session, 405, 6C, discussion of purchase of property, Willis Road.
He's good.
18 p.m.
Is it worth sending out the action?
I don't know. Sorry.
18, would you send me an email?
Depends what's gonna be presented to.
Yeah. motion's been made, we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? And it answers your question, we don't know.
Okay.